Problem number 39. Find the surface area and volume, if applicable, for the following figures. Well, the first shape is a three-dimensional shape, so it will have volume, and it will also have surface area. I am going to begin with surface area. So this particular shape has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, plus a top and a bottom. My top and bottom are going to be the same, and I'm going to call this 6 sides so that I remember after finding the surface area of one side, I can multiply it by 6. Remember that our top and bottom is going to use the formula for a regular polygon, which we utilized 1/2 the apothem, which is 6.9, times the perimeter. And since each side length is 8, and we have 6 side lengths, it's going to be 8 times 6 is 48 is my perimeter for this particular shape. All of that will give me the surface area of this bottom regular polygon, to which I will then multiply it times 2 because the top and bottom are going to be the same shape. So when we multiply that whole thing out, we get 331.2. Now let's figure out the surface area for one of my sides. One side is going to be 9 times 8. And again, we mentioned that we had 6 of those sides that are going to have that same dimension, so times 6. Equals 432. We add the 331.2 to my 432, and I end up with a surface area that is 763.2 units squared. Now, for volume, we're going to use the formula volume equals big B base times the height. Now, fortunately for us, we've already identified that the top and bottom are the base for this particular shape. So my volume is going to equal 331, because that was 2 of them. Volume is going to equal 165.6, which was half of this number up here. Remember, before we already found the area of the top and the bottom together, so I cut that in half to save myself a little bit of time. If I needed to, I could have remultiplied this out. 1/2 times 6.9 times 48 would have gotten 165.6 times the height. Well, the particular height for this shape is 9. And that is going to equal 1,490.4 units cubed. Our next shape is the shape of a kite. You should remember that we utilize the formula area was equal to 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So we have 1/2. One of my diagonals is 9. My other diagonal is 9. So 81 times 1/2 equals 40.5 meters squared. This shape is not three-dimensional, so it does not have a volume. It simply has a area. C. Alright, for C, let's start breaking this up into parts. I see a trapezoid on the end. And I'm going to have two of those, a top and a bottom. Top and bottom. Could have called it front and back, could have called it left and right, whatever helps you keep them organized. I have a rectangle on the bottom that is 7 by 8. I have a rectangle on the two sides, and this angle tells me that my angles are all equivalent, so that's 9. It's going to be 9 in the back, so I have a rectangle that is 9 by 8, and I will have two of them, one for this tilted surface and another for this rear tilted surface. On the top here, I have a 8 unit long by 4 unit long rectangle. So now I've concluded I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 surfaces, and I do in fact have 6 surfaces to this figure. So my trapezoid formula for trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So we will have 1/2. The height is labeled over here as 3 times 3. Base 1 is 7, base 2 is 4, so that would be 11. And I have two shapes that meet those criteria. Now we don't need the image anymore because we have all of our figures. 1/2 times 3 times 11 times 2, well, that's going to equal 33. 7 times 8, that'll equal 56. 9 times 8, then times 2, well, that'll equal 144. And 8 times 4 would be 32. Altogether, it looks like we have about 265 units squared. Now let's figure out the volume. Well, we already have the area for the volume identified with this formula up here, 1/2 times 3 times 11. So that was 16.5, and remember we doubled it for the surface area because we had two surfaces that would have that area. So we're utilizing the volume equals big B times H, and in this we have the big B as being 16.5, because that would be the base. Perpendicular portion on this figure that is equal shaped on both sides. That is only the trapezoid on this particular image. And then a height. Well, this image has a height of 3, so times 3. Which would equal 49.5 units cubed.